What is going on, guys? My DM has been blowing up with questions with people who are watching the videos and on Instagram who are following this car, who are following any other car that's a Q50, Q60, VR30, and they're interested in the platform. They want to know, how should they go about modifying their car? What makes the most sense to do first? So this video is going to be about that today. What path should you take, or can I suggest to you guys when you're going to start modifying these cars, and what are the drawbacks of doing some before the others, or what is the suggested plan that you should have in mind considering all the facts before you make a final decision. So that's what this video is about today. It's strictly informational, so stay tuned. To kick things off, we're going to start talking about heat exchangers. This car comes equipped from the factory with a very tiny heat exchanger. And that heat exchanger is so inefficient that it'll eventually start pulling back on your car's performance, and you're going to notice right away that it's not going to perform the same. Now, I have the 300 horsepower model here, Sport, and I can only imagine what you guys at Red Sports go through to start off. Just do a little bit of spirited driving and the car doesn't feel the same. So the answer to that is upgrade your heat exchanger. Let's go over options. Now, this order that I'm about to go through in the heat exchanger is not a particular order. I'm just naming them as they come to my head. So first off, you have the Frozen Boost 101 and 118 heat exchanger. I believe the only thing that separates them is width. So depending on what package you guys have with your cars, I know some of you guys who have the tech package may want the 118 so you can actually fit it in your front bumper. And if you don't, you can fit the 101, which is a little bit wider. So Frozen Boost comes in at about $180, $200 for the heat exchanger itself. The install, there's plenty of DIY videos out there for them, and it's a budget buy. You can't beat it for the price, and it performs. A lot of people run it without issues, so Frozen Boost is your first choice. Next choice is you have your AMS Performance heat exchanger, which I do have equipped in this car. That's probably going to be towards the top of the price range, but at the same time, it's the one that's been proven to have the most performance and the better cooling out of the bunch. Not saying that it's something that's going to be like a wow factor of a difference between one or the other, but it has been proven, and it's also backed by Infiniti's warranty. If you have an AMS Performance or Infiniti heat exchanger, you can get it from either AMS or the dealership themselves. So the capacity of the cooling is just immense, and it offers a really good package compared to the stock one. Next up on the list, I have two more heat exchangers that I think they're very comparable in terms of performance and in terms of how they look and how they feel. Burger Tuning and Visconti Tuning both have a heat exchanger out right now, and I think those are good options as well, just like the Frozen Boost and the AMS. It's your pick. If you have a budget for your build, or you have a number you like to spend overall in mind, that's up to you. So the Burger Tuning is, I believe, is $399. Visconti Tuning, I believe, is around $400 to $500. But I can put the link down in the description so that you guys can check those prices out and where to find them. Now, since you guys have seen the options that are presented for the heat exchanger, the choice is yours. But what I will say is that that's going to be the bottleneck overall when you start to put bolt-ons on this car. The faster you make it, the slower it's going to get if you don't have proper cooling done. So guys, it's completely up to you. I personally have chosen the AMS Performance / Infiniti heat exchanger, and it's backed by warranty. There's no doubt about that. It was like a no-brainer to me, so that's what I went with. It's completely up to you, and what I would suggest is that whatever choice that you do make sure you do have it installed professionally, unless you know how to do the install, because you don't want any bubbles in your system or any issues with cooling. I've seen in cases where it has completely stranded people, so just make sure you have it installed professionally. Now that we've talked about cooling, let's talk about performance. The first thing that I did for this car performance wise was a set of downpipes. Now it's a set of lower downpipes from Fast Intentions. You can get lower downpipes from Fast Intentions, AMS Performance, Z1 Motorsports, Megan. I think Burger Tuning may be coming out with a set of downpipes. I don't know. There's so many choices out there. It's completely up to you. They're all priced about the same, except Megan. They went on the really cheap side, about 120 bucks. As far as quality, I can't say I haven't had a set, but I would question it at that price. But anyways, with that being said, lower downpipes are a very common modification for people to do when starting their build. You can also do full downpipes. There's a couple of companies that offer full downpipes. The main one is Z1 Motorsports, and right now their full downpipes are about $600, as opposed to their lower downpipes is about $300 to $400. So the choice is yours. I think full downpipes offer a little bit more power on the top end and can drag on the power higher into the power band as opposed to the lowers. Give or take, it's not very much. The amount is negligible, but depending on where you want your build, take your build, you may want to pick that as opposed to a set of lower downpipes. Now, for those of you who like to do installs yourself, something that you should be aware of, this car is equipped with a 4-stack, or I should say a 2-stack of cats on each side for each bank. So you have your lowers and your uppers. If you decide to do full downpipes in the first time around, you can remove the entire thing as one stack as opposed to just removing the lowers and then the uppers kind of thing. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to do lowers. Like I said, you just take off the lower downpipes, reconnect the sensors and that good stuff, so you should be good to go. So the install for lower shouldn't take very long. I think it took me about 35 minutes to do. It wasn't very hard to do. So if you're someone who does DIY projects and you kind of want to do it in your garage, I would highly suggest not doing full downpipes in your garage, as it can be a lengthy install. I think some shops are quoting anywhere between 4 to 5 hours just for the install because of how difficult it is to clock the downpipe correctly on the turbo outlet. So with that being said, it's completely up to you guys where you go with. So yeah, let's talk about exhaust systems now. So let me start off by saying I have a Fast Intentions catback exhaust system on this car. There's 2 versions that they sell. Both are X-pipe design. So this one is the unresonated one. You can also get it resonated for a little bit more quiet. Now, the only thing that I wish I would have done is maybe gone with the resonated one, because sometimes I can feel a little bit of drone as I'm driving. I think you guys have noticed that in some of my videos, but I do like it that way because when I get on the pedal, the noise is just phenomenal. So that's kind of, I'm on the fence about it sometimes, but Fast Intentions does offer a great catback exhaust system right now. The only thing downside to it is the wait time. I think the lead time in the winter time might be a lot less than in the summertime. I think I waited 4 to 6 weeks for my catback exhaust system, so that's something to keep in mind. As far as options, there's so many options up there. A lot of people are going custom nowadays, but there's like HKS makes a beautiful exhaust system. It has like dumps on the back of it. And I think people are, really drawn into that kind of stuff because it's unique, it's new, it's a new platform, so it's exciting to have that on your car. Other systems like Stillen, I believe, makes one. CZP makes another system. So there's plenty of great catback exhaust systems out there. In terms of power difference, I mean, I don't know. I haven't tested them on a dyno, for example, back to back to kind of gauge numbers, but I think they're all pretty much about the same. Now keep this in mind, all of those exhaust systems that I just named are 2.5 inch diameter. So I don't know if any company's making a 3-inch exhaust out there yet. I do know of a company making 3-inch lower downpipes right now, and that's AMS Performance. And also Z1 Motorsports, I believe, makes a full 3-inch downpipe. So that's completely up to you guys. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. You can choose. There's so many options out there. You can't go wrong with either one. I think at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a similar result with these basic bolt-ons on the car. Now, let's move on to the most controversial bolt-on that this platform and any other platform in the world has, and that is intakes. Which is the best? You know what? You be your own judge on this one as well. There's so many intake systems out there. I can only tell you from experience what works for me and what I believe works the best. So I've had 2 sets of intakes on this car apart from stock, and I'm going to go over those now, then I'll name the others after that. So I had the AM intake system on this car. Initially I got it just because it sounded cool. It kind of sounded like a blow-off valve to me, since this car doesn't come with a recirculating system on it. But anyways, the AM intake sounded great. They performed great. Didn't have any issues with it. So I really have nothing other to say than, for the price that they were $230, they were a great system, and I have no complaints about that. Next up, we're going to talk about the AMS Performance intakes, which are the ones that I actually do have on the car, and also sold by Infiniti as an Infiniti brand intake, and it's also backed by warranty. So once again, that was a no-brainer for me, so it literally made sense to do. And also the amount of R&D and research that went into these intakes by AMS was enough for me to go ahead and pick these intakes, to represent what I think is the best possible product that I can put on this car. And honestly, so far, they're not the loudest intakes, which is fine with me. I don't need a loud intake on the car. But performance-wise, throughout the mid-range and top end, the intakes do shine. So I do think this is an intake set you want in your car. If you're someone who wants to tune your car and want to see gains where your money went, I think this is the perfect system to do that. So only my opinion. You guys can go ahead and choose your own. Now there's a couple of other intakes out there that I think deserve to be talked about, but I'm not a fan of one of those. But anyways, I'll still talk about them. So still in intakes, everyone has had issues with them. Everyone has jerkiness, startup issues, tuning issues when picking these intakes. You know, still, you guys make great products sometimes, but this one is not one of them. So still intakes are definitely no-no. Try to stay away from them to avoid any headaches, and they're also very highly priced for what they do offer. The people have said they're okay and they're not okay. I've heard mixed reviews on them. It's the burger tuning intakes, but nonetheless, I believe they're coming out with some new development to upgrade the intakes themselves. So looking forward to that. So also maybe I can get a set to review them and whatnot. But I think that, you know, the more options we have, the better for this platform. Now that we've talked about some of the most common modifications people do when they first get into the platform or they want to upgrade their VR30, we talked about heat exchanger, we talked about downpipes, we talked about exhaust systems, and now we talked about intakes. The only thing that's left, guys, would be a tune. What is the best tune possible out there for you? Now, for those of you out there who may not like this option, just listen to it anyways because it's the one that I'm most familiar with. So, and I am talking about EcuTech, and that is a ECU flash tune as opposed to your piggyback tune like JB4. So let's talk about EcuTech. Some of the benefits you're going to get from EcuTech. Well, first of all, your tuner is going to be directly changing your parameters, whether it's remotely or on the dyno. You're going to get the best of the best. Someone, you know, who has experience in tuning vehicles, and they're going to be able to optimize the tune on the car to give you the best potential they could possibly give you, as well as the safest. Now, quick side note, those of you who do go into a dyno tune as opposed to getting a remote tune, you will make a little bit more power, because when you do go in for a dyno tune, you get an O2 sensor put in your tailpipe, so they can actually get your AFR readings. And by getting accurate AFRs while on the dyno, the tuner can make on-the-fly corrections to make sure your tune gets the best of the best in terms of your parameters and your settings and whatnot. I'm not a tuner, so I know how that works, but I do know that whoever gets their car dyno tuned, it's going to make a little bit more power as opposed to someone who's remote tuned and the tuner is just missing that real-world data like AFR readings on the dyno. With EcuTech, I personally have the Bluetooth option on this car, so let's talk a little bit about that. The Bluetooth option allows me to change my maps on the fly, allows me to data log the car and send the logs to my tuner directly from my phone right there and then. It allows me to see, you know, monitor the car myself. I can also do like 0 to 60 times and stuff like that. It's not going to be as accurate as a V-Box or a Draggy, for example, but it is something you do have as a fun factor. But I really like the fact that you can change your maps on the Bluetooth on your phone, tablet, whatever you guys use. And also you can data log the car right there and then without having to plug in a laptop to it. And I think it's a really good option. You can get it without the Bluetooth. You can change your maps on the steering wheel and stuff like that and still data log it with a laptop. But it is an option, a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day, it all depends what you guys want to do. I've been able to achieve something that was probably higher than my goal initially. Initially, I had a really small goal of achieving 400 wheel on this car. But with EcuTech, I've been able to get 459 to the wheel and 497 foot-pounds of torque. And I think that's really a large gap compared to the stock. So that's about 160 wheel horsepower over stock and about 200 foot-pounds of torque to the wheels over stock. So with just a few bolt-ons in the tune, I've been able to achieve that. I know EcuTech is one of the stronger tuning softwares out there for the VR30. There's a couple of options, which I'll name a couple. And that leads me into the next section, which is there's UpRev, but then again, there's not a whole lot of support out there for UpRev, meaning they don't have a whole lot of people tuned on this software, so I really can't tell you a whole lot other than they're having a lot of issues getting ECUs unlocked to tune them on, or I don't know what is going on there. When someone wants to be tuning UpRev, their ECU is not compatible. I don't know. I need answers. So if you guys have some information about UpRev, post in the comments. You know, reach out to me. Maybe I can include it in another video. But I know they're a great tuning software for the VQ platform and have experimented with the VR. So we're waiting to hear some more information. I've only seen like 2 cars tuned on uprevs, so maybe in the future we'll see something else. And here we're going to talk about the last tuning option out there for the VR30, and that is a piggyback tune via Burger Tuning's JB1, JB4. Now, this is nothing to frown upon. I do think it's a respectable piggyback tuning software for for everyone to use. I know the BMW guys use it a lot, but it's on the cheaper side for sure. But you're not going to get all the benefits that AccuTech's going to give you. Meaning you don't have a tuner looking at this data. You are the tuner. It's your call. However much more boost you want to run over stock, you can set those settings up. You can data log your own stuff. So personally, I felt that AccuTech for me was the way to go. Not only do I think it's safer, there's a lot more parameters involved that your tuner can look at, as opposed to me being all pretty new to the to the modifying world in terms of performance. I don't know a whole lot out there, so I think it was better to leave it in the hands of a professional as opposed to me doing that work on JB4. Although people say it's very user friendly and very easy to use, and I do believe that. I think a buddy of mine, Boost in Motion, check out his YouTube channel, link below. He talks a lot about JB4. He has JB4. He has real world experience on JB4. So if you guys want more information on that, follow his channel and see some of his videos. I think it's really informative as well, so check them out. For this last part of the video, I want to talk about supporting mods. Now I have a few supporting mods in this car, ranging from AMS's Performance Coolant Expansion Tank, drive shaft, blow-off valves. I think these are some of the things that you want to get, not right away, because you're not going to see a return in terms of something that's going to perform out of the box and you're going to feel. So I do think this is something you should get in the future, but it's completely up to you guys. I'm going to take it from the top. So let's talk about the AMS Performance Coolant Expansion Tank. And what it does, it pretty much allows you to fit in more fluid in your cooling system overall, and allows you to dissipate the heat a little bit better. And all in all, dissipate more heat equals cooler temps over a period of time. So in the end, it does equal to a little bit of a cooler heat exchanger system. So I think that is a nice piece to add. It's not the most expensive thing out there, but it looks pretty badass as well compared to the stock one. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I do have a full installation video on that part in my video section, so check that out if you're someone who maybe just got it and want a step-by-step guide on how to install it. So check that video out. Next on the list, we have a set of HKS blow-up valves, SSQVs by Z1 Motorsports, and I'm also going to make a separate video about this, but I'll briefly touch on it. They're pretty much there to help your turbos out, guys. The VR30 doesn't come with a recirculating or a ventilating for your boost pressure, so pretty much when you let off the gas, essentially that boost pressure goes right back into your compressor wheel, instead of blowing off into the atmosphere or recirculating in a certain manner. Now, since this car doesn't have the ability to do that, what happens with the Z1 Motorsports kit for the HKS SSQV blow-off valves, what it essentially does, as soon as you let off the throttle, all that excess boost pressure is vented into the atmosphere and not going into your compressor wheel, which in the end is going to help the life of your turbos. So, like I said, I'm going to have a separate video about that out for another day, but let's move on to the next part. Last but not least, I just installed this one. You guys can also check out the video for this one. It's the AMS Performance Aluminum Drive Shaft. There's a couple of options out there. You have the carbon fiber drive shaft, again by AMS, and there's also an aluminum design by CZP, Concept C Performance, I believe that's what they're called. Some people have had it. They say it's about the same as the AMS one. I think they're about both equally priced and will perform the same. So I don't know, I haven't had both to say, but from the looks of it, they're pretty much about the same design. I do know that the AMS one is made by Drive Shaft Shop, and it is a very respective drive shaft shop. So that's what I went with, and it made sense to me. So that's the only option that I thought was right for my car. So that is going to be all for today, guys. Hopefully this video has helped you guys who are just getting into the platform and are starting to modify your Q50 or Q60 with the VR30. I try to be as unbiased as possible in these videos, just to kind of give you some feedback based on my experience and based on what I do know that's out there. So hopefully that can help you guys who are just starting out. And if you guys have any comments, questions, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on the comments, or however you can contact me. Either way works. So if you like today's video, go ahead and hit that like. And if you want to keep watching my videos in the future and like my content, I encourage you guys to subscribe and let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one.